Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I'm going live on Instagram now and you are welcome. Hi everyone, welcome to this Instagram live session. If you are watching the replay, you are welcome. Be sure to leave a message for me in the comments so that I know that you came for the replay and you were not live with me. I'll wait a bit for people to join in now so that we can start. Awesome. Hi. Awesome. Hi, Ayopami. Welcome to this Instagram live session. Please let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. I feel like I'm using bedroom voice. Please let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. So today we are talking about a very important topic, and I called it JAPA Chronicles, right? I called it JAPA Chronicles, like everyone is JAPAing. Everyone is running away. So if you plan to JAPA, leave a comment for me. Just say JAPA. If you plan to JAPA, if you are married, just leave a comment for me there and say JAPA. Right? Say JAPA. So my name is Mrs. Sparkles, and if you're new to me on this platform, I'm either helping the single ladies to navigate, their relationships and just date intelligently, or I'm helping newlyweds and then young wives to go through that early years of their marriage so that they don't lose themselves in the process. Okay, so today's topic is really very important, and a lot of you said let's do this, right? And this came about when I made a post, I think last week, talking about how so many young couples, people that just got married, are traveling abroad and relocating with your family, which is good. I don't have any problem with that, actually. It's a good thing, and they have genuine reasons, so I'm not even here to judge anyone. So if your plan is to JAPA, if you're already even gone, husband and wife together, you're gone, that's okay. I don't even think this is like majorly for you, but you would definitely benefit from this session. Okay, so I'm not here to judge, right? And just to also say that I'm very used to addressing just women, and I know that today we have some husbands, we have some men or single men who are engaged to be married and all joining us. So please pardon me if it feels like I'm just talking to women more than the men, but I'm going to try to strike a balance. Welcome, Precious. Welcome to our rain. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Just leave a comment or hit the heart button so that I see them and I know that we're together, so that I can really start. So this session is for married couples, please. It's not for those that are dating. It's not for those that are engaged. It's directly for married couples. I know that if you're in a dating relationship or if you're even single, you would definitely benefit, but I'm talking in the context of marriage. Good evening, Precious. So nice to meet you. So I have a guide here just so that I don't talk off, because I can be here talking about this for the next 2 hours, right? So I have a guide here so that I'm just, hitting it on the head. Fantastic. So like I was saying, sometime last week I shared a post and I was talking about how so many people are relocating abroad, which is good, but a lot of people, like this, I have had conversations with people who are relocating and then now entering a distance marriage. So we have it very common where the man will say, oh, the wife should go with the children and then he's fine, right? And then there is no plan, there is no idea, there is no clear plan on, when are we going to be together? Some just go for masters and after that they stay there. They tell you it's for the betterment of the children. That's fine, but remember that marriage is for husband and wife. Marriage is for companionship. So when you do that investment for the children, which is great, what happens in the next 15 years when these children are probably out of your life? Because once they get to that teenage state or university, they're pretty much out of your life, right? So what happens then? And you know that definitely distance has a way of impacting relationships really negatively. There are few people who have the capacity to manage that relationship. So this is what I'm going to be talking about today, right? And like I said earlier, if you're traveling with your spouse together, then this may not necessarily be, I'm not really talking to you directly, even though you benefit, but I'm talking to those who the husband is in one country and then the wife is in one country. And from the context of this session today, I'm going to be assuming one person is in Nigeria and then the other person is in Canada, UK, or the US. That's where everybody is JAPA into, right? So we assume that one person is here, and most times it's the husband. I don't think I've ever seen a case where the wife is in Nigeria and the husband and the children are relocating abroad. Most times it's either the wife is here with the children and the husband has gone, or the husband is here and then the wife and her children have gone. So what we're talking about today is, what should young couples consider? If you're planning to do this, what should you consider? Now again, I'm not here to tell you whether you should JAPA or not. Excuse me, because I understand that you probably have already, weighed your options. You have a reason why you're traveling. That's not my business. I'm not here to tell you JAPA or no JAPA. No. I'm here to just help you, and I'm not here to give you instructions to do this or do that. No, I'm just here to guide you, to get you thinking, to call a meeting with your spouse and say, babe, guy, oh yeah, what are these things that Mrs. Paku said? How are we going to address it? What are we going to do? Like, I'm just here to give you a guide or a script that would help you. Okay, are we together? So I'm gonna run right away. Hi everyone. You're welcome. So if I'm saying something that really makes sense, that is making a lot of sense, just tap the heart button. I really need to know that you're hearing me as I go along, or you're taking some, nuggets or points here and there. Now, I want us to know that marriage was designed for companionship, right? Marriage was designed for companionship and not isolation, okay? It was designed for intimacy and not loneliness. So when you have made a decision that you want to relocate and leave your spouse behind, there are certain things that you need to look at. There are certain conversations that you must have just to ensure that you are not causing more harm for your family than good. Just to be sure that you're not causing more harm for your relationship than good. Just to be sure that you are not causing more harm for your children than good. Because majority of the people say, I want to give the children a better life. I want a place where there is security and all those things. So I'm not here to instruct you, but to give you a guide. I'm going to touch on 5 things that would help you to make a better decision. The first thing is, what are your family values? What are your family values? Have you even sat down? How long have you been married? Have you sat down to say, this is where we are going? What are your family visions? Not even values. What are your family visions? So somebody can help me drop the points in the comments so that I know that we're together. Have you sat down to say, because when you were single, what happens? Let me say for the wife, for example, what happens whether your fiancé or your husband now came to you, proposed to you and said, babe, chick, my love, honey, come and get married to me, please. And then you accepted. What he did was he invited you on a personal journey that he was on. Now, do you have a clear understanding of what that journey is? Because now you are joined as one. You've left your parents, mother and father, and then you're joined to this man or you're joined to this woman, and you are supposed to be headed for a destination. Do you have that destination clearly written down somewhere? Or do you guys discuss it from time to time? So a family vision is just that path that tells you, okay, this is where we are going to, or is that blueprint that tells you this is where we are going to, and this is how we are going to achieve it. So what is your family vision? You want to ask yourself that question, because it is what would give you some level of guidance as to where you're going and the kind of family that you want to build. In that family vision, for example, you need to know your personal values, and you need to know the kind of values that you want to instill in these children that you already have or that you're going to have. right? You need to know the kind of values you want to instill in them. It could be integrity, it could be spirituality. The reason why you are asking yourself these questions is you want to be sure if when you are away, all of this can continue. You want to be sure if you can build the kind of family that you had planned to build, even though you are not in the same location. It's really very tough for single parents, for lack of a better words, that is the wife that's probably with the children, or even the husband that's with the children. It's not easy. Even when couples are together, when husband and wife are together, parenting is not a joke. Not to talk of when it's one person that is there alone. So have you asked yourself these questions, or have you even thought about it? If you have no family vision, then that will probably be your starting point. And you will be able to do this easily when you understand your reason for marriage. If your reason for marriage is one of those reasons that do not hold water, then you may struggle to do this. So these are questions that you need to ask yourself. Really, really very important. Then you want to ask yourself, a person that does not hold, let's say for example, you hold a certain value of integrity and you have a spouse that is always telling lies. How do you plan to carry on a relationship when you are away? Because even when the person is right before you in the same location, the person is always lying. You have a spouse that has a degree in telling lies for no just reason. You've caught them severally over and over again, they tell lies. So how do you want to manage that relationship when you're away? So there's a clear misalignment of values which must be discussed, because all of these little things have a way of impacting your relationship. So basically, your family vision, it covers areas like how you want to raise your kids, the kind of schools you want them to go. I've heard people say, oh, my kids will never go to public schools abroad. My kids will go to Christian schools. My kids will go to Catholic schools, and all of that. Whilst you are, maybe in Nigeria, you could easily afford it, but now that you are sending these children abroad, is this something that you can afford? Right? So you also want to look at that. With the environment where these children are going to be raised, build them into the kind of children that you want to have in your family. Because a vision will clearly show you the uniqueness of your family. Let's say you are Mr. and Mrs. Abiola. How would you want people to see the Mr. and Mrs. Abiola family? And then taking this decision to be away, are your children going to be that? That's one thing you need to sit down and question. If you don't have a vision for where you're going, you need to come back. Because so many people are just doing this JAPA thing because they want to go and snap beautiful pictures and then show social media that, oh, they are living their life. There are a lot of people that are not even doing really very well. And I've heard so many cases of people who went there, they struggled. Some had to even come back because the relationship was not really working anymore. For some, they got to a point where they had to decide, okay, who's going to move? Are you going to eventually come and stay here even though you don't have a job, even though you don't have this, or are we going to come back and start again? But if you don't even value family, because some people, they just got married to just, tick boxes, and they don't really hold the family dear to heart. Yes, they love their wife, they love their children, but there's a level to which they can sacrifice. So these are questions that you want to ask yourself. The second question you want to ask yourself, and this is very, very important. I feel like it's the core of this message, okay? You want to ask yourself, what is the state of your marriage right now? You want to JAPA. You want to leave your wife here. You want to leave your husband here. What is the state of your marriage? Where are you guys? For how long have you been married? For how long have you known each other? I know of somebody who left after many years and she was like, I know my spouse so well and I feel like we can adjust here. But I just got married 3 months ago and you're telling the wife to go. I just got married a year ago. You're still even trying to get to know yourself, because the fact that they've joined you to your spouse does not mean that you know everything. Even if you dated for so long, marriage is a different ballgame altogether. So where are you right now in your marriage? And what do I mean by that? There are different seasons in marriage. Right? And it's possible that you are probably in a state of bliss, or it's possible that your marriage is just there, or it's possible that your marriage is in coma, like your marriage, you're just there but you're not there, or it's possible that your marriage is just, it could be better. Where is your marriage, and what are the reasons for your marriage being in this state? If your marriage is in bliss, good, that means there are certain things that you are doing that is helping your marriage. But the question is, how do you now plan to sustain it? And if you're wondering, how do I know where my marriage is? Then I'm going to share this with you, right? You would easily know where your marriage is if you are already taking what I call the marriage health check, or if you're already doing the marriage assessment. Now, this is one thing that so many Niger people or African couples do not take seriously. Our professionals, our doctors will tell us that, oh, you have to do annual checkup, right? At least every year. They encourage us to do that. But for our marriage, a lot of us just run on autopilot, and we just believe that the feelings, those emotions, how we're feeling, butterflies and all of that we had before we got married was sufficient to sustain us through the journey. And as such, we just go like that. Anywhere belief is, anywhere you wake up, how you're feeling, you go like that. That's not sustainable. And if you check very well, it may be the reason why you are probably not growing together. You may find that you are growing apart. So one of the things that you ought to be doing as a couple, irrespective of JAPA, at least every year, is to take your marriage health check. And this will just simply show you the areas where your marriage is weak. It will show you areas where you are probably weak. It will show you your strengths, show you your weaknesses, show you the reasons why you and your husband or you and your wife are thinking differently. And it will help you to come to a conclusion that, okay, we have issues with communication, we have issues with sex, the issues in my past are what is affecting my present. And then you begin to know how to address all of this. So my question to you is, have you ever taken a marriage health check? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comment section. Have you ever taken a marriage health check? Because what the goal in marriage is not just to remain at that stage where you allow your feelings. Today when you feel like acting nice, you act nice. Tomorrow when you don't feel like, you just sleep. No, you're supposed to move from that state of emotions to being intentional with your marriage. So if you have never done this, then you cannot confidently say that my marriage is in bliss. I've had sessions with couples whereby I took their assessment, I ran the assessment for them, and the husband is in bliss, but the wife is just there. I've also had scenarios where the wife is in bliss and then the husband is not there. There are things that the wife thought, okay, my husband will say yes. The guy was like, no. Are you enjoying your marriage? No. Are you enjoying the sex? No. Are you enjoying? No. And because these are things that some people just push under the carpet and be like, for peace to reign, let's just go ahead. So you need to know where your marriage is at. You need to know the areas that you need to work on. You need to know the areas where you guys are weak. How do you relate in the house? I was telling somebody, I said, you know how you feel headache? And after the first day, the second day, or the third day, you're like, I need to go to the hospital because I'm not feeling good. And then you go to the hospital, you run a test, even though somewhere in your mind you were pretty sure that it was malaria, but you just thought, let me just do a test. And then you realize that it's typhoid. That's what happens in marriage. A lot of times you are thinking the reason why you and your spouse is probably having conflict is because of XYZ. But by the time you go to do your checkup, you would realize there are deeper issues that are causing the conflict in your marriage, even beyond what you thought it was. So it is very, very important. Until you have done that check, you cannot really say that, my marriage is fine, I'm going to survive and all of that. No, you really can't do that, okay? And one of the tests here that I really want to highlight is the love language test. I'm sure you may have heard about it by Professor Gary, right? The 5 love languages, which is the way people receive and interpret love. Now, if you are the type, there are 5 of them. You have words of affirmation, you have physical touch, you have acts of service, you have quality time, you have receiving gifts. Let's paint a scenario. And then you're married to your husband, your own love language is physical touch, and his love language is words of affirmation. Have you discussed how you are going to feel loved? Because yours is physical touch. Because physical touch is not just sex. We have non-sexual touch as well. So if that kind of couple is deciding to embark on a long-distance marriage that is endless, no time bound, nothing, no matter what that man is doing, this woman would keep feeling unloved. Why? Because the man is not present to speak her love language. Or let's say it's acts of service that is your love language, and then your spouse is not present in that location to support you, to help you, to assist you with things here and there, even if the guy is sending you money, because I've seen people receiving gifts is really very low. Their score on receiving gifts is very low. They're not interested in collecting gifts. Just be there for me, just support me, or just spend time with me. No matter how much this man is sweating his head down in Nigeria to send money abroad, this lady would definitely feel overwhelmed. She would feel unloved. Why? Because the guy is not speaking alone. Why the guy is here in Nigeria saying that woman is so ungrateful after everything I've done for her? Imagine, she's even complaining, I did not call her, I did not do this one. Yes, she would complain, and her complaints are valid, because the primary language through which she understands this love is missing. Is missing. So these are important things that you need to look out. You don't look out for. You don't just wake up and say you want to JAPA and say, hey, I'm going to be fine, and wife, go with the 3 children. I'll just work hard here. I'll be coming to visit. Even that coming to visit, a lot of time, most people are not able to sustain it, because it's not something that is easy. People say, oh, I will come every 2 months, or I will come every 3 months. How can you really sustain it? Things change. Right? So where your marriage is now is very important. Some people are navigating a season of infidelity. Maybe the wife cheated, and then the husband has found out, and then you guys are in a place where you're trying to reconcile and bring your marriage together. That's not the time to now stay apart, because trust is already broken. Do you see? Trust is already broken, and you're trying to build the relationship again, because when trust is broken, you are starting from -0 or step 1. So is that the time you now want to say, let's JAPA, and then you stay here, you stay here? You're just going to be putting so much pressure on the marriage. And for a person who wants the spouse to be present physically or around, what happens is, when that person is not receiving that level of love that they can understand, they become vulnerable. And then when there is one close friend, maybe one guy is around that lady that can speak that language, he say, oh, it's just my neighbor, just my neighbor. You know, the 3 children, they were just all around. I was tired, I came from school, I was this, and then he just came to help out. Tomorrow, he just came to help me this. Before you know it, they start to build a relationship. Why? Because that man is feeding the woman love in the language that she understands. So you want to sit down and audit your marriage to say, where are we now? Where are we now? Right? Really very important. You also want to ask yourself questions like, how do we resolve conflicts? When we have disagreements, how do we resolve it? Does it take us 2 days to resolve conflict? If you are in the same house and then it's taking you 2 days to resolve a conflict, or it's taking you 1 week to resolve a conflict, what now happens when you are away from each other? You see, somebody that you are sleeping with on the same bed, seeing morning and night, you can conveniently stay for 1 week, for 3 days, without talking to the person, without addressing the issue, nothing. There is already an issue that needs to be addressed. By the time you jump into long distance marriage, you may struggle more, because there are unresolved issues that are already in existence in your marriage. Do you see? So you must analyze your marriage. When it comes to forgiveness, how easy is it for you to forgive? You know, they say out of sight is out of mind. Some people are actually using this whole JAPA scenario to take a break from marriage. Yes, a lot of people are using the JAPA scenario to take a break from marriage. They are tired. They are tired of their spouse's presence. There's no opportunity to travel for work or anything. And you know how COVID forced people to live together, and it caused commotion, and it caused. Some people are yet to recover from that. So for some people, this whole JAPA scenario where let one spouse go, let the other one just stay, let one go with the children, don't worry, I will send them money. They are actually using that as an opportunity to take a break from their marriage. So you want to be sure again that your reasons for doing this are really valid, and that it aligns with your family vision, right? You want to be sure. So if you have no idea, or if you are even confused and you feel like, I want to do this text, after this session, send me a DM, just send me a check-up in a DM, and then I'll arrange something for you. I will send you a link so that you and your husband can register. The truth is, a lot of us were not proactive. We wait for the marriage to crash or almost crash. When we're not talking for 1 month, when things have gone really bad, then we begin to seek for help. No. When you start seeing the signs that something is not right, that is the time to seek for help. So if you feel like you're thinking of doing this JAPA thing, but you know deep down in your heart that you and your husband or you and your wife are not in the same place. In fact, you are even telling yourself, well, let me just go. Let me just take a break. I'm tired of all these things I'm seeing. I'm tired. You really need to do this checkup. Identify the areas where you have issues. Talk about it and put a plan on how things will get better, because you'll be surprised. You may get over there and things will begin to get worse. And you know, abroad, it could be very, very lonely. If you don't have family, if you don't have people, it could be really, really lonely. I know so many people that have gone there and they get into depression. They get into depression because it's not easy to find people to even when you're in Nigeria, you don't even easily open up. Talk more when you now go to a strange land. So I encourage you, if you have no idea, you want to do that test. The third point is, after you have analyzed your family vision and then understood the kind of marriage that you want, after you have analyzed the state of your marriage, and then you can say, okay, we are in a state of bliss, oh, we are just there, oh, we are in coma, oh, we are struggling, and we need to put X, Y, Z. Exactly, a lot of divorce, separation here and there, because a lot of people just feel like, well, let me just be fine, I cannot come and kill myself. The spirit of fighting for our marriage has left so many people. People just want to live life and enjoy. You don't understand that marriage is deep. Marriage is deep, but we don't treat it like that. And we fail to realize that how we live our marriage affects our children. I have had sessions with, I can't even count, so many people in my coaching and counseling session. By the time I dig deep into the reasons why they are acting the way that they act, or they think the way that they think, a lot of it comes from the marriage that they saw with their parents, what they experienced with their parents, or the people, or their guardians, or people that they lived with. And there, bro, nobody sends you. Like, separation or divorce is like water. Do it and move on next. So if you don't have a solid foundation, if you have not sat down to say, this is what I hold dear, and anyway, I'm going to go into that, but let me not jump. So it is very important that you understand where you are now. Stop using your friends' relationship to judge yours. Their goal is different from yours. The reason why your neighbor is traveling may not be the reason why you are traveling. So you want to check, and then you want to weigh it. Is it worth it? Is it worth this pressure I want to put? Long distance relationship, long distance marriage, because I'm talking about relationship today. I feel like I'll do a separate video on that. Long distance marriage puts a lot of pressure on marriages, even if your marriage is in a state of bliss. It's not all that easy. Trust me, you need to be committed and disciplined to make it work. So after you have identified the state of your marriage, where you are, the next thing is you need to now look at what kind of marriage have you agreed to build together. Every couple should have a marriage goal. Every couple should have a marriage vision. Where are you looking to be in the next 1 year, in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years? What are you looking to work on? Can you look back and see how you guys have progressed from year 1 to year 3, or from month 1 to month 6? Are things getting better, or are things getting worse off? What kind of couple do you want to be? This marriage that you have right now, what is your goal? Yes, marriage is for companionship, but what else? Right? You need to sit down and ask yourself. Me and my husband were discussing recently, and we're like, oh, what do we want our marriage to be like in the next 10, 15 years? Or what do we want our marriage to be like when the children are out of the house? These are conversations that you need to have. What are your belief system? Some people believe that this marriage thing, I get as a baby, I could just work out, I cannot come and kill myself. And that would flow from the reason why they got married. If your reason for getting married is not strong enough, then you may not have so many goals. I'm going to take questions. So if you have questions, please feel free to send them using the question sticker. If you're watching the replay, just drop it in the comment section, or send me a message, a direct message, and I would answer you. right? So what kind of marriage do you want to build? Do you want a marriage? I always ask anybody that signs up to work with me, I always ask them this question, because blissful marriage to you is very different from blissful marriage to me. It's possible that, let me not use me, it's possible that Mrs. A came from a very troubled home where the parents were always fighting. So for her, what she just wants is peace. Once she can have a peaceful marriage, even if they're not making too much, they can feed themselves, they can train their 2 children, she's fine. But for some other person, they have a deeper expectation from their marriage. So what is bliss to you? When you arrive at bliss, would you know? What are your goals year in, year out for marriage? Do you want a marriage where there is trust? Do you want a marriage where there is vulnerability? Are you already seeing that now? You're not going to take what your spouse is saying, and don't worry, now we travel, I will keep in touch. Are you already experiencing good communication now? Does your husband carry you along? Or he's saying, why are you always policing me? Must you know everywhere I am? Why are you always checking on me? Is it that kind of a person? Is that the person when you are in the house now? He's always telling you, why are you always questioning me? Why are you checking my phone? Now that you are together, then when you travel, what's going to happen? What is going to happen when you travel? You are in the same, I'm telling you, stop calling me, I'm hanging out. Then or is it that you want to be able to resolve conflicts in peace, without raising your voice, without shouting? You don't want to be sweeping things under carpet. You want to be able to talk about it. But before you can have those conversations, you begin to observe his mood, begin to observe his body language, and see, oh, when is the right time to bring this? Why? Because your relationship is in that place whereby you cannot freely express yourself, because you don't know when he will spark, you don't know when he would, or you don't know when she would just, so you begin to observe their mood like a baby, and then identify an area where you said you're smiling, say, please, can I talk with you? If that is what you are experiencing now, my brother, my sister, what will happen when you eventually relocate? When you have conflict, how are you going to resolve it? It's very easy for your spouse to tell you, don't worry, we'll be fine, we'll sort things out. Talk is cheap. Look at the pattern. Look at what has been happening in the past. If it's not been happening before, it will automatically happen. When you get, a lot of us, when you get really upset, you know how conflict can be, and then you have a disagreement with your spouse, you're probably boiling, and you're not in the right frame of mind at that time. Is that the time you're going to calm down and talk things through? Start practicing it from now. Because what you're struggling with now would most likely escalate. What you're struggling with now will most likely escalate. Or do you have issues with intimacy? How often do you guys have sex? For some people, they cannot do without having sex. Every 2 days, they must have sex. My question to you is, please, how are you going to cope? What is the plan? For some of you, you've been sexually active right from your dating stage to when you got engaged, you got married. So you guys have been together. You know that your husband, his body is not normal when he has sex. Even to travel, so 1 week is back. How are you going to cope? What's the plan? Do you really think that you can hold yourself, especially if your love language is physical touch? Because it's very easy. And then another thing you want to say is, do you guys have boundaries in your relationship? Are you free to talk about your close friends, conversations about your friends and all? Do you open up to each other easily? Are there things that your husband will tell you without you finding out yourself? Or are there things that they will hide from you? Are there things that your wife will tell you by herself? Or maybe she made so much money now, millions, and then she's hiding it. She doesn't want you to know. There's so many, and there's some people that it's not as if they want to hide stuff from you. They just forget. But because you are in the same house, they just, oh, I didn't tell you, and so and so thing happened, so and so thing happened. Do you have a spouse, or are you disciplined enough to give your spouse updates? What kind of marriage do you want to have? A very important question that you must talk about. Right now, how do you keep in touch? Somebody was telling me that when her husband goes to work, they don't communicate until he comes back. And they've been married for 3-4 years now. So my question is, how are you going to keep in touch when you are in a different location? How? Talk is cheap. Oh. It is very, very cheap. Actions speak louder, right? If you are the type that will say, must you know everything? Must I tell you everything? Let me tell you something. When you are away, you would have to update yourself as often as possible so that you give no room for doubts. Because when doubt starts to creep in, when you don't trust your spouse anymore, you would barely believe anything that you're saying. When you don't trust your spouse anymore, you would barely believe anything you're saying. So look at your marriage and then all these major aspects: communication, conflict resolution, intimacy, fun, play. How do you guys play? Are you the type that, you are very busy 2/7, you are stressed out, you don't even have time for each other? You go to work in the morning, come back in the night, you're busy, you are tired, you want to sleep. The next day, repeat the same thing until it's Saturday. If you are in the same location and then you are this busy, trust me, you will be more busier when you travel. Or have you thought about, maybe your spouse, one is in Nigeria, the other one is in the US. We have different time zones. When you are waking up, you are sleeping. When you are sleeping, you are waking up. How are you going to do it? Are you that type that will intentionally keep? When my husband travels because his work, sometimes he travels. When he does, sometimes he's just going for lunch and then want to call. We talk all the way he goes for lunch. We're talking there, going back to the room. Sometimes there's even silence. 5 minutes, there's silence. And we're just there, assuming that we're in the same location. Can you do that? Or will you say, there's nothing to talk about? Okay, bye-bye. Right? So you want to really take out time to think about that. The next thing is, what marriage routines and rituals do you currently have in place to tighten your intimacy? What marriage rituals, what marriage routines do you have in place presently that is helping you to grow your intimacy, to understand each other better, and then to just grow deeper in love and keep your sparkling, shining, and just keep your marriage sweet? A person who has no plan has already planned to fail. And a lot of us, I know that life can be very busy. I know that the children are a handful, yes. But how intentional are you? You should have simple routines. And this was why I wrote my book, 52 Irresistible Ways to a Happier Marriage. Just helping you to introduce different level of spice into your marriage. So how do you say good morning? How do you say good night? How do you say welcome? You just throw your face and say, hey, welcome. How? How do you invest into the love? How do you nurture your relationship? What are your so a ritual is simply something that you do often to bond in your relationship. It can be for your marriage, it can be for your family. What rituals do you currently have as a couple or as a family? Do you even have any at all? Some people, they say Friday night is family dinner. We sit together, we eat together. When we are done, we play games. Some others, Saturday night is movie night. Some others, they walk around the estate. Some, they go swimming. Some, they go for lunch once every month. They eat out once every month. Some different things. Some, they pray together every day. Every morning, they're praying together. What rituals do you have in your own marriage? Sit down and then discuss it. Because knowing that is one thing. How you are going to sustain it is another thing. Because all of these are things that would help your marriage to be better. So if you don't have any at all, I don't know what to say to you. But I will say this. You need to start. You need to start. And then you need to now figure out how are you going to survive if you eventually start living apart, right? Is there a plan for your marriage, or you are presently just running autopilot? I talked about it before. Some people just wake up, come back, I'm tired. The next day, come back, I'm tired. They just do admin duties as couples. Oh, did you turn off the water? Oh, did you give the security man this? Oh, is there light? Oh, is the freezer, is the freezer on? Just routine stuff, nothing about individuals. When do you sit down to talk about your goals? When do you sit down to review your relationship? Please, can you hear me? Somebody say network. Is it my network or your network? Let me know. Let me know. So when do you sit down to talk about this marriage relationship? When do you sit down to check on how far you have come? Do you have weekly marriage meetings? To say, oh, okay. This week we didn't do this. Some people, they sit down every Thursday, they're shopping, they sit down, they do budget together, they go shopping, they plan. Some people, they plan the next week, the previous week, they sit down as a couple to plan. How are you going to do these things when you begin to live apart? Because these are the little things that bring you together. What shared activities do you do together? What stuff do you, is it movies? You enjoy watching movies together? Or you don't have anything? A lot of people have told me that, oh, me and my husband are very different. The goal is not for you to be the same anyways. So what stuff do you enjoy doing together? If you don't have one, then you have to find one. You have to build one, because that is what will help you always find a reason to come together. That's what will help you, right? Every marriage needs a sustainable system for it to attain that state of bliss that you're looking forward to. So you need to question yourself and ask yourself, what is ours? How do we resolve conflict? Do we have a rule? Somebody was telling me recently that they have an agreement that they will not go to bed angry. They will not go to bed without resolving a conflict. That's good. But what happens when you are away? Would you be disciplined like that, or will you just turn off your phone and say, please don't disturb me? And you turn off your phone. How disciplined are you to honor that agreement that you have with your spouse? Or are you going to introduce the finish and say, I beg, we'll talk about it tomorrow? What rituals do you have? Some people, they have spa dates every month. How are you going to sustain these? It's not enough to say, oh yeah, go get your passport and go to school, we'll be fine, we'll be talking. Let's just be going small. Some people say, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. Are you cooking Indomie? This is a major life decision that you want to see how it goes. You must sit down and plan, at least to the best of your ability. I'm not saying how you plan it is how it's going to happen. Things may change. You may get there and realize that, oh, things work in a different way than you thought. Are you willing and ready to adjust? Or just want to stamp your feet and no, we didn't agree to that. We agreed that your spouse may tell you he's going to be coming every 2 months. Yes. But when you get a say, oh, babe, this money is plenty. Or like you didn't know the money was going to be plenty before. Anyways. So I can't come. You come in 6 months. I'll come 6 months. Are you okay with that? Or is that going to make you feel frustrated and feel lonely? And once you begin to feel like you and your spouse are not in the same place, that is already a basis for conflict. Right? So you must be intentional. Right now in Nigeria, in Lagos, for example, there's a lot of stress. There are different things that introduces stress to any marriage. You have traffic on the road, you have career, people are chasing career, they want to grow, they want to make more money, things are more expensive. And I can understand, you have parenting, you have children. For some people, it's the in-laws. There's so many things that is just trying to make marriage tough for people. But the intentional ones are trying. The intentional ones are putting efforts and trying to make it work. So where is your own marriage in all of this? For some people, there's only one person that is putting in majority of the work. The other person is just there, not doing anything, not willing to make a move, never willing to apologize, never willing to resolve. Say, okay, anyone you like is fine. That person has even zoned out and is just looking for, let's just JAPA so that you go be on your own. It's just money I'll be sending to you. I'll send you money and that's it, please. And they've in their mind, they are planning to reset to single life mode. Married but living single. That's their plan. But you have no idea. Somebody was telling me of a man that I think it was he that traveled, and then he took his wife and children to family house to stay. And the woman is frustrated there because the family, I think the parents are just frustrating the woman. The guy is saying, no plan to come back here. And he's there. If I say, I don't have money to bring you guys, I'm not planning to come back. So what becomes of the marriage? What becomes of the family? We even get to forget that our children, parenting is not a one person's job. It's not a woman's job. It's for husband and wife. Everybody has the aspect that they need to contribute for your children to be whole and round. There are certain conversations that I cannot have with my son that my husband will do better, and vice versa. So it is unfair that the parent is alive, but you are depriving those children of what they can benefit from their parents. I know somebody that they call every day, first thing every morning, before the children goes to school. The father will call. The mother will call. That's intentional. So this is not just something I just say, let's be going. Let's see how it goes. Right? When you are here right now, during the day, how do you check up on each other? How do you chat with each other? I think I've had conversations in the past where I've said you have to be intentional with building your intimacy, because people are growing. People are changing. The things that I loved when I was dating my husband are not the same things that I love now. No, they are not. They are not the same things that I love now. Right? The things that were fancy to me that I wanted to do, they're not really the same things that I'm interested in doing now. Why? Because I'm also evolving. I am changing. Right? So are you paying that level of attention to understand how your spouse is changing? And it's not to come and attack and say you've changed. No, observe and flow with them on that level that they are right now. So the question in all of this is, what you're doing now, is it working? Then how will you make it work when you now decide to begin to do your long distance marriage? I think that's the bulk. I've stressed this word a lot, and I'm going to move away from it. So the fourth point, are we together? Please let me know. The fourth point is, let me know if we're together. Let me wait for your comments. Let me know. Feels like my network is not stable. Let me know if we are together. I hope I'm not talking to myself. Great, awesome, fine. So I want us to be that. Something I want to say is, especially when it has to do with the issue of sex, you know that even the Bible says, even if you must stay together, let it be mutual. Let it be you agree. Even when the Bible says, even if you must abstain from sex as a couple, let it be mutual agreement, and let it not be for too long. Let it not be for too long, because he knows that the devil, your enemy, is very clever and is looking for ways that he would create problem and introduce temptation into your relationship. So if the devil knows that you like sex very well, he will come and attack you with that. If he knows that you like people who will help you, support you, you just fall. Somebody just fall in love with anybody that is supportive, he will come and hook you with that. So you want to also be spiritually on alert on all of these plans that you're making. Right? You want to be spiritually on alert on all of these plans that you are making. Long distance marriage is no joke. The next point, and I think that's the final point, and I'm going to stop. Well, I was almost 1 hour. The next point is, for how long do you plan to be apart for? I think this is my own issue in all of this JAPA thing, because I don't have any problem. JAPA, I want to JAPA. But if you say you're going to be away from each other, for how long? For how long? Some people say, let's just start, let's see how it goes. See what happened during the COVID. Some couples stayed away from each other for a year plus. For a year plus, because one person did not have paper. There's only one person that could come. So, for how long is it going to happen? There's some people that you already know that your wife can never leave abroad. You that you're planning to go. You know that your wife can never leave. But you tell yourself, let me just go first. Let me see if I will change. If she will change her mind. And then you get there, you get so used to the environment. You're not willing to come back. She's not willing to come. I've seen people like that. There's some people that they go with the wrong papers, and they get there, they are stuck. They cannot leave because they don't have right paper. The other person is here, cannot also come. You've caused problem for yourself. So for how long? There's nothing like, let's be saying how it's going. Having a time frame helps you manage your relationship better. It feels like you are looking forward to a date. If you are engaged, for example, and then you're planning your wedding day, every morning when you wake up, it feels like the day is almost here. Finally, there's this excitement. There is this, there's this joy within. The day is almost here. Finally, or if there's something that you're looking forward to, maybe you ordered something online and you're waiting for it to be delivered. Waking up every day to know that the day of that delivery is close, it just gives you excitement. If you are managing your blender, for example, because it's bad, and you've ordered one blender that is going to come next month, every day you're using the blender, you will not be as frustrated as you were yesterday, because you know that a new blender is going to come. Where there is a time frame, it is easier to manage emotions. You know that you are bearing for a period. But when you leave your marriage, say you are just go, no time frame, nothing, then you are just setting up your marriage for failure. And that's what I need you to understand, because marriage was not designed for couples to stay apart from each other. No, it wasn't designed that way. It's for companionship. How do you want to keep each other company when you are away from yourselves? That's as good as being single. So it cannot be indefinitely. You have to sit down and have a plan. Okay, if I'm going for masters, when I'm done, if I don't have a job, what happens? Okay, if I go, when are you going to come? Nothing like when I get a job. If you don't get a job, what's going to happen? Are you going to come back? If you are going to come back, that's okay. Or if you get and then realize that your ability to resolve conflict is not as good as you thought it was going to be, and then you are fighting back to back every month, your children are coming to ask you, Mommy, why are you crying? Mommy, is that daddy? Mommy, is daddy making you crying? Every month, and then you've done this back to back. You're not, what is the plan? What plan do you guys have in place? What's your strategy? Are you at that point going to talk to a professional counselor or a coach? Are you going to involve your parents? What are you going to do? If your spouse is misbehaving in Nigeria and then you are in the US and is not listening to you, but you feel like you're telling him something that makes sense, who can you talk to? Who does he listen to? Because a lot of times when we are away, we are not able to really read our expressions, our body language, and sometimes things get off. Another thing I forgot to say is you need to also ask yourself, how do you have conversations? Some people are not able to talk until they are face to face. Some people don't like to chat when they are at work until they get home before they can talk about anything, before they can resolve issues. Is your spouse like that? Are you like that? So you can't just leave it to say it's endless. Just go. Some people even make the mistake of getting the papers to travel for themselves and believing that where the country did not guarantee you just believe that when your spouse applies, you'll get paper. They'll get a visa. And then your spouse then applies 2 years after and doesn't get the visa, and then you guys are stuck. Why do you put yourself into that kind of bahala? Anyways, like, your marriage is very important. You have to give it that level of priority. You cannot say you're just going for a better life. What is your definition of better life when it does not include the person that you are married to? Right? So I hope that this helped. I want to take questions if we have some questions. I want to take questions. If we have any questions, I'd like to take some questions. It's very, very, very important that we have these conversations. And even when you are away, you need to ask yourself, how are you guys going to be communicating? Are we going to be doing video calls in the morning? Are we going to be talking during break time? Are we going to be meeting 6 o'clock every evening? When is our meeting point? When is our meeting time? Are you going to be carrying along? This is not the time where you once say you want to hang out with your friend that is a guy and you're a woman. You say there's nothing. And then you now book a date, a dinner date, because your husband is not here. You now book a dinner date there. Hello? Or you're going out, you don't tell your husband that you're going out by 8 p.m. And then he calls, and then you video call, and he's hearing boom, 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 boom. You are probably outside, hanging out with your friends, and he has no clue. If you're not disciplined enough to carry your spouse along, then maybe you're not ready for this, because long distance marriage is very, very demanding. So if we don't have questions, I'm going to stop. It's exactly 1 hour, and I feel like I've done justice to this topic. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message or to drop it below the replay. This video is going to be on my Instagram page. It's also going to be on YouTube. Yeah, and my handle on YouTube is Ask Mrs. Sparkles, so please follow. And then of course you can watch the replay. You can share with your spouse. Like I said, I wasn't here to talk about whether you should JAPA or not. My concern is if you're planning to stay away from your spouse, there has to be a time frame. You need to sit and discuss the system or structure and how all of this is going to work, how it's going to help your children. As a parent, so don't you even feel guilty that your children are far for so long? Like, how are you going to be involved in their day-to-day life? All of this needs to be discussed, but ultimately, you need to have a time frame. Please. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Ufoma. Thanks for joining me. And I'll see you in the next Instagram live. Bye.